Welcome to Gay Nerd Pun. 2017 has already been a wild ride. Everything's on fire and life is chaos. But you know what? Comics are great, and they can't take that away from us. And honestly, there has never been a greater time to be a queer nerd than right now in 2017. So it hit me about a week ago when I was catching up on some of my latest comics, and I read a couple issues back to back featuring queer characters and realized that there is a plethora to choose from. I was reading All New X-Men number 17, I believe, and that's the issue when we see young Iceman go out with the Inhuman Romeo, and they have their first kiss together, and this gay kiss gets a full page. And then we follow that up with DC's The Ray Rebirth one-shot, which was written by Steve Orlando with art by Stephen Byrne. I think this is the first time in DC's history that a queer character was written by a queer writer and illustrated by a queer artist. That may be a first for either of the big two. And that is huge. But that's not all we've got going for us. So let's take a little stroll down the queer annals of comics. I slightly regret saying annals. So aside from The Ray over at DC, there's obviously the current series Midnighter and Apollo, which is kicking ass, and it's really just giving us more in-depth story about Apollo as well as the relationship between the two of them. Detective Comics is kicking ass, where Batwoman is leading the team. She's not some side character. She is truly the star of this series, and seeing a strong lesbian character in a comic book just kicking ass is amazing. And then Wonder Woman Year One just wrapped up, written by Greg Rucka with Nicola Scott on art, which was just a perfect Wonder Woman story. And as if the story itself wasn't amazing as is, they finally confirmed Wonder Woman to be a queer character, and they handle it with importance and gravitas, and they don't shy away from it, and it's really beautifully done. Marvel's Patsy Walker, aka Hellcat, may be skewed for a slightly younger audience, but honestly, I'm enjoying it immensely. And her pseudo sidekick Ian is kicking ass and taking names. He's not relegated to side duties. He's become more and more of a prominent character, and it's incredible to see some more bisexual representation. Then when you go the indie route, we've got another Steve Orlando project called Namesake, which is incredible. The art by Jacob Rebelka is just beautiful, and it follows this character whose parents are two dads, and it's a sci-fi story. He's sort of tracing back to his dad's falling in love and falling out of love and getting revenge, and it's a really complex and beautifully told story that's unfolding. We've got the old faithfuls like Lumberjanes, and the sort of male counterpart with Backstagers. Jughead representing for asexuality, which is underrepresented and awesome to see. Plus, Gem and the Holograms continues to prove itself to be just like one of the best comics, hands down, on the market. Honestly, even if you didn't grow up watching the cartoon, you should absolutely pick up this book if you haven't. It's been running for about 2 years. It's going to be ending soon, sadly, but I'm kind of glad about that because they're not gonna be able to ruin it by stretching it out for too long. They're just telling great story after great story, and it's incredible to see queer romance between the two bands with a couple of the members. And those are just a handful of some of the current series that we have. Right around the corner, our good friend Steve Orlando is coming back with Justice League of America for DC. They're gonna do a Rebirth one-shot, and then it's gonna be an ongoing series after that, and The Ray is on the team. Is this the first time we've had a queer character as a member of the Justice League? I think it might be. Then in March, Marvel is releasing America. So for anyone who loved the Young Avengers, you probably remember America Chavez, who is so badass. She's a queer Latina. She doesn't take shit. I think she's from another dimension. That's written by Gabby Rivera, and the art is Joe Quinones, who, I think I said that right. I hope so. Anyway, he tweeted a link of the cover to the #1, and it's channeling Beyonce heavily, and it's pretty rad. And then a month after that, sometime in April, we're finally getting the heavily anticipated Iceman solo series written by Sina Grace. If you haven't read any of the titles I talked about, I encourage you to pick up a copy of any of it. They're all awesome and they all stand on their own. And that was only scratching the surface, so I'm sure I missed a lot of cool ones. So by all means, if you are reading anything that you think is awesome, that has good queer representation, hit me up on Instagram or Twitter at GayNerdPun or in the comments below. I'm always looking to expand my horizons and get queerer. That's really hard to say, queerer. Queerer, the rural juror. The queerer rural juror. Until next time, insert gay nerd pun here.